Hey everybody. So today we're gonna do some factoring. This is gonna be your warm-up, so go ahead and take a look at it and then complete it. It's just a real world problem. So Jimmy threw a ball in the air and wants to find the equation of the quadratic. The quadratic on the graph is the trajectory of the ball. Find the equation of the ball thrown given only the graph. And then this is your graph right here. Then you'll go ahead and use that. So you can pause the video and go ahead and do it. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and work it right now. So pause the video and then go ahead and go and do it. So we should know that we know our HK form, which is y equals a x minus h squared plus k. That should be what we're working off here. So with this, we'll look at our vertex, which is right here, and that's 2, 9. Okay, and then for our HK form, we're gonna need just one other point. So I'm just gonna pick this point right here, which is 0, 5. So those are the points that I'm gonna use for this. You can use any other point, but you definitely need your vertex. Just choose any other point that's on this graph. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna plug in for h and k first. So I'm gonna have y equals a x minus, now we're gonna put our x of our vertex, which is 2, squared, plus our y value of our vertex, which is 9. Okay, so we've got that going. Now, we're gonna plug in that 0, 5 into our x and our y value. So we're gonna have 5 equals a, 0 minus 2 squared plus 9. Okay? Now we have to solve for our a value and grab our a value here. So we have 0 minus 2, which is negative 2. We still have squared and our a in front, plus 9. So negative 2 squared is 4. I'm just going to bring this down here. So we have 5 equals, so negative 2 times negative 2 is 4, and then we're multiplying that to our a value. So it's going to be 4a, and then plus 9. Okay. Now we're just going to solve for a, so subtract 9 to both sides. Okay. And this is going to be negative 4 equals 4a. And then divide 4. Oops. Let me go back. Okay, then we're going to divide 4 from both sides. We'll just do that over here. Negative 4 equals 4a. Divide 4. Divide 4. Negative 1 equals our a value. Okay, now we're not done yet. We've got to plug in our a value back into this equation with our vertex in it. So now we have y equals, we have a negative 1, or we can just keep it as a negative. Okay, and then x minus 2 squared plus 9. Okay. Cool. And then we can multiply this out if we wanted to, but we can keep it as that if we want to as well. Which is what I wanted you to do, was just do the HK form. So, okay. Jokes and quotes of the day. So our joke of the day is, Come on, man. I asked how good you were on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm not bragging. I'm an 11. And then our quote of the day is, obstacles are things a person sees when he takes his eye off his goals. Okay, so you have a paper. Sorry, I've got all my papers here. You've got a paper that looks like this, and we're just gonna do the bottom half. We're gonna do the bottom half for notes. But first, you're gonna watch this organic chemistry video, and I'll put that up. And then I want you to stop it at 2 minutes and 40 seconds. You also have this paper with the vocab and the YouTube video notes. And I want you to solve the problems on the YouTube video notes when he goes through them. Okay? So go ahead and watch that and then come back and we'll go over these notes. These ones right here. Okay, let's get into it. So factoring a quadratic, we use this method to find we're gonna find the zeros of an equation, which are also known as the x-intercepts. Okay, steps for solving quadratic using the lattice box. So our lattice box will look like this. We'll get into it when we get into our vocab and stuff, but it's just a box with 4 corners in it. Okay, so we're gonna first find the values of A and C. Okay, to find 2 values that are the product of A and C, that is the sum of B. Okay, so we're gonna multiply A and C together, so our quadratic equation looks like this: ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So we're going to multiply our A and our C together and get a number, and then with that number that these two multiply to, we have to find 2 numbers, either those same 2 numbers that also add to B, or 2 different numbers that multiply to A and C and add to B. Okay, substitute these numbers into the diagonals. So those will be right here, and right here. Okay. 4, find the products of the top and the sides of the lattice box. Okay. 5, set those top and sides equal to 0. Solve the equations for x. And then we're gonna plug back into our original equation to go ahead and check our answers. Okay, so on this paper that we have here with our vocab, go ahead and jot these down. These are going to be our little vocab sheet with the YouTube video. So a quadratic function, you can really just put this in there if you want to. Right here, just put this little equation in there. And I want you guys also, where A doesn't equal 0, when A equals 1, or A doesn't equal 1. Okay, the lattice box is what we kind of talked about. It's just going to be a square with 4 boxes that we're going to use. Okay, the zeros of the function are the x values that make the function equal to 0. And factoring is how we get those equations at the top and the side here. And our x-intercepts are where the lines cross the x-axis. So go ahead and jot those down. Alrighty, you have a sheet that looks like this, take it out. We're gonna do a problem all together. Okay, let's do x squared plus 11x plus 24. Okay, so we have to find the values of a, b, and c. So our a value is 1, because this is our a value right here, whatever's in front of this one. Our b value is going to be, I'll put equals 11, because that's our middle term, and our c value is 24. Okay. Also on this, go ahead and fix it. This should say b. Okay. Find two numbers, the product of a and c and the sum of b. So we're going to take the product of a and c. So 1 times 24 is 24. And we're going to go ahead and put that at the top. So our products of a and c are always going to go in this top part of this x right here. Okay, and then our b value is going to go on the bottom. Okay, so we have to find two numbers that multiply to 24, but that also add to 11. So go ahead and think about it. Okay, hopefully you thought about it, and I got 8 and 3. Okay, so 8 and 3 multiply to 24, but also add to 11. Cool beans. All right, now we're gonna use our lattice box here. So what we did here was we just broke up our b value. We just broke up our b values. So whatever we did here, we're gonna put into our diagonals. So we're gonna put 8 and 3 here, and we're gonna put an x right by it, because we just broke up our b value of 11x. We just broke it up. Okay, now we got to put our other parts of this equation up here. So we have our x squared, which always goes up here in this top left box, and then 24, which goes right here. Okay. Okay, so now we have x squared. So we have to find, we're going to use this little area here and this little area here. So we're going to find two numbers that multiply to x squared, which you should get x times x. So x and x go up here because they both go into x squared. Okay, x times what equals 3x? You should get 3. Okay, and you're going to put that on the side. And then x times what? X times what equals 8x? You should get 8. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and put these right here in two equations. So x plus 8 equals 0, and x plus 3 equals 0. Okay, now go ahead and solve for x for both of them. Okay, and I'll do it as well. And I'm just going to put it on the side. Okay, so you should have gotten x equals -8 and x equals -3. Okay, so that's how we're going to solve those. So this tells me that if I put it onto a graph, my quadratic equation is going to be a parabola that goes like this, looks like a U, right, on here. So we're going to have, I'm just going to write -8 and -3 here. That tells me that my parabola goes through -8 and -3. Okay. All right, so I want you guys to get your whiteboard out, a marker, an eraser, and your notes that we just took, and we're going to go ahead and do a whiteboard activity. Okay. I'm actually going to go back to write on this. Okay. And then once you write it on your whiteboard, I want you to keep it, and so you can have all your steps so we can see where you went wrong. We'll only do like 2 problems here. Okay, so for the first one, let's do x squared minus 5x minus 36 equals 0. Okay, go ahead and try it on your own. And I'll work it out right now so you can pause the video and then come back. Okay. So first, we're gonna write our big X here. So our product of A and C is gonna go up top. So that means 1 times negative 36 is negative 36, so that's gonna be our top value. And then our B value is going to be on the bottom, so negative 5. Okay, so we have to find 2 numbers that multiply to negative 36, but that add to negative 5. So think about it, come back when you're ready and you think you got it. Okay, mine is going to be, I know that 9 times 4 equals 36. But this has to be negative, and so does this. So I'm going to make my 9 negative. So negative 9 times 4 is negative 36, and negative 9 plus 4 is negative 5. Okay, now let's do our lattice box. And we're going to put these 2 in our diagonal. So I'm going to put negative 9x here and 4x here. Okay, our C value goes at the bottom, and our A right here with our x squared goes up top. Whenever you see x squared, you can just put x and x here. Okay, so what times x equals 4x? Be 4. 4 times x is 4x. X times what equals negative 9? Should get negative 9. Okay, and then we can check this here. Negative 4 times negative 9 is negative 36. So that checks out as there as well. Okay, we're going to take our side and our top and make it equal to 0. X plus 4 equals 0. And let's solve for x here. X equals negative 4, because you subtract 4 from both sides. Okay, and then x minus 9 equals 0. Okay, you should get x equals 9. Because you add 9 to both sides. Okay, so our solutions are x equals negative 4 and 9. So those should be your solutions for this one. Alrighty, let's do one more. Okay, 2x squared minus 5x minus 3 equal to 0. Okay, go ahead and start this on your own and try it on your own. Okay, if you need help, don't forget you have your little sheet here that will also help you. Okay, but I'm gonna go through this so you can pause the video and then come back when you want. Okay, so first, my A value is 2, my B value is negative 5, My C value is -3. Okay? So I'm going to find the product of A and C for the top of my X. So the product of A times C is -6, because 2 times -3 here. Okay? Then I'm just going to put my B value down here. Okay? So now I have to find two numbers to go in my sides here that multiply to -6 and add to -5. So think about it. Come back if you have it. So it should be -6 and 1. -6 times 1 is -6. And -6 plus a +1 is -5. All right, let's go ahead and put this into the lattice box. Okay, so I'm putting these two numbers in my diagonals. -6, and I'm going to add an x. 1x. Because I just broke down my b value here, and that's why I put those in the diagonals with an x. And then everything else is going to stay the same. So at the top is going to be 2x squared, and the bottom here is going to be -3. Okay. Now this one, you can't just put x and x here, because x times x is x squared, but you have a 2, so you have to account for your 2. And how we're going to do that is we're going to look at this whole side. Okay, so what can I take out of -2x squared and -6x? What goes into 2 and -6? I would say 2x here. Okay. 2x times what, that we're going to put right here, multiplies to 2x squared. Say x. Okay. Because this, you can factor out an x from this equation right here too. 2x squared, 1x, you can factor out an x there. Okay, so 2x times what equals -6x? You already have an x, so 2 times what equals -6? You should get -3. Okay. X times what gives you 1x? You should get 1. Okay, and then we can check this spot right here, because -3 times 1 is -3. Okay, now let's put these into our equations. So we have 2x plus 1 equals 0. Okay, let's solve for x. -1 minus 1. 2x equals -1. Now we're going to divide both sides by 2. So we have x equals -1/2. Okay, so we just did the top equation and solve for x. Now we're going to solve for the side equation. So we have x minus 3 equals 0. Add 3 to both sides. Should have x equals 3. So our solution is x equals 3 and -1/2. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. You have a worksheet. go ahead and go through that worksheet. So we're gonna do number 1 together. So first I'm gonna add 16 to both sides. So now my new equation is 9x squared minus 24x plus 16 equals 0. Okay, always make these equal to 0. So this one you're going to have to put your 8x on the other side, and this one you're going to have to put that negative 1 over to make it equal to 0. Okay, so we'll put it in the big X, and I'll just kind of tell you. 9 times 16 is 144. And then we put our B value at the bottom. Okay, think about it. Two numbers that multiply to 144, but add to negative 24. A hint, they're both going to be negative. Because two negatives multiply to make a positive, which is what we need to do up here. And you should get negative 12 and negative 12. Okay? Into, okay, we're going to put these into our diagonals. And our 9x squared right here. And then our 16 goes at the bottom. Okay, what can we take out? If you just look at this side right here, what can we take out of 9x squared and negative 12x? Think about it. I think 3x. Okay, so 3x times what gives us 9x squared? Well, we know 3 times 3 is 9, right? And x times x is x squared, so we're going to put a 3x here as well. Okay, 3x times what equals negative 12x? So we already have the x here. So 3 times what equals negative 12? You should get negative 4. Okay, same thing. 3x times what equals negative 12? Negative 4. And then we can say negative 4 times negative 4 is 16. Okay, so these are the same, right? So we're going to write 3x minus 4 equals 0. And we're going to solve for x. So add 4 to both sides. And we have 3x equals 4. Divide by 3 on both sides. X equals 4/3. Okay, so up here, we're just going to put x equals 4/3. That's our only solution. We can't say 4/3 and 4/3 because that's the same point. Okay? Alrighty, so go ahead and finish this up. This one may get a little tricky on the bottom, but I want you guys to take out a 2. So factor out a 2 first and then go ahead and go grab it and grab that answer. Okay? Awesome.